Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse is the next big thing on the internet. And just as people are uploading businesses, products, services, and even whole buildings into the Metaverse, so are some of the deplorable parts of human society. Those parts are also being uploaded into the Metaverse. For example, we've just received our first report of a sexual assault occurring in the Metaverse, and no one's talking about it. And this video will discuss the reported sexual assault that occurred in the Metaverse, the repercussions of that type of behavior being uploaded into the Metaverse, and what people can do about it. Hi, my name is Adam Juratovac, and I'm a California employment lawyer located right here in San Jose, California. And you can find me anywhere online at the handle @AdamJ_the_lawyer. Now, in my practice in San Jose and in the San Francisco Bay Area, I primarily focus on employment law, meaning that I help employees fight for their rights. Now, in the past couple years, a majority of my clients that have been coming through the door have been people who have seen sexual assault and sexual harassment at work, which is a type of discrimination in the state of California. One of the jokes I make with clients is, I say in the state of California, discrimination is legal. It's legal, unless it's one of the 11 types of discrimination that the California legislature says is illegal. For example, in the state of California, being discriminated against based on nepotism, meaning that if your boss is related to other people that they're promoting, that's legal. Your boss is allowed to do that. If you are being discriminated against based on your race, ethnicity, LGBTQ status, and in the state of California, hairstyle, among certain other characteristics, then that type of discrimination is illegal, and employers are not able to discriminate against you based on those characteristics. Now, there are certain exceptions, and I'm not going to dive into those exceptions. For example, if your employer has fewer than 5 employees, there's certain types of discrimination that they're allowed to do because there are different laws that your employer has to follow if there are 0 to 4 employees. There are different laws that your employer must follow if they have 5+ employees, 10+ employees, 15, and then 25+ employees. Conoce tus derechos. Now, let's jump back to the issue at hand. Very recently, there was a female product tester who was a beta tester in Horizon World, one of the worlds that was created by Metaverse. Now, there have been videos that have been posted that are supposed to be recreations of this woman's assault in the Metaverse, but the actual assault that we're going to be discussing was not actually videotaped and not recorded. But instead, we had this individual's first-person recount posted in one of the beta tester Facebook groups, and this is what she had to say. Sexual harassment is no joke on the regular internet, but being in VR, virtual reality, adds another layer that makes the event more intense. Not only was I groped last night, but there were other people who supported this behavior, which made me feel isolated in the plaza, which is the virtual environment central gathering space. There are many people circulating this topic and talking about this like a joke, like, quote, "Dude, it's just a game." But when the vision for this technology means someday incorporating physical touch, with many of us working remotely from home and in the Metaverse, this is just the first red flag of what's becoming a huge problem. So let's first talk about this situation. We have a woman who is beta testing this new universe made by Meta, which is the Horizon World. She's going into the Metaverse, she's going into Horizon World, and going into the town square, the central gathering place where everyone is supposed to meet, collaborate, talk, and discuss what's going on in that world. And at that point, someone found that they were obligated to, and they had entitlement to go over to this beta tester and start groping her avatar. Now, this happens every single day online, like she just suggested, where women are receiving direct messages of illicit and naked pictures that they are unwanted, and they're receiving those in their inboxes every day. As a male, I don't receive very many illicit pictures from people, and I am very thankful for that, because I can only imagine what it's like to open up my inbox, open up my direct messages, and see view photo, view video, and when I open it up, it's not a picture of a dog, it's not a picture of a smiling face, it's a picture of something I did not expect to see that day and something that is very personal and I do not want to see. Now, this is occurring all the time. And this is bringing up a very big issue within the Metaverse, because if a woman cannot feel safe within this town square of this virtual world that we're expecting people to start working in the next couple years, then where can women feel safe? What is the next solution? So what's the solution? Is the solution that women are not allowed to hang out in the town square in these metaverses unless they have a male friend with them? Is the solution going to be that there will be a separate world for women or people who do not feel comfortable in the metaverse because there's sexual assault and different harassing tendencies that are occurring there? So the people in charge of Horizon World, which was the virtual world that this beta tester was sexually assaulted in, actually came out with an official response to this incident. And after an internal review, they said that this user should have used a tool called Safe Zone. And when a user activates Safe Zone, they can no longer feel threatened by other individual users, because once Safe Zone is activated, no other users can talk to you, no other users can interact with you, and then you are going to be given additional or different tools than you would normally be receiving if you were not in Safe Zone. To me, that looks like there is a separate environment for people who do not want to be harassed and sexually assaulted in the metaverse. Now, this is bringing up a couple really big issues, and the first really big issue that I can think about is, at what point are we going to say that sexual assault, no matter where it's occurring or in what manner it's looking like, is not okay? Why do we need to create a separate environment and a separate world for women in this instance to feel safe and to feel like they are not being sexually assaulted in the metaverse? At what point are we going to say sexual assault is not okay right here, right now, and not care about how the growth is going to be in that world? Because I guarantee you right now, with the new metaverse, adoption is key. Meta is really trying to get users to adopt these platforms, to adopt these different worlds, to upload their personal property, upload their businesses, and upload their products into this world. Now, there's going to be a balancing act when we think about what type of behavior Meta is willing to agree to allow on its platform versus what type of behavior they're willing to allow on that platform until their growth hits a certain level of users. Now, this will be very interesting because right now we have this report of the sexual assault that occurred, and the official response by the Horizon World is, we're sorry this happened, we're trying to fix it, but women can, if you feel unsafe, you can go into a safe zone, which you will not be able to participate fully into this environment. I believe the response by Meta should have been, we will not stand for this. We will try to look in our systems and change our programming so that this will not happen again. So there will be future moderations in place and further escalations where a user can report this type of behavior and escalate it if it continues to occur, even so much where the user who is assaulting or harassing illegally another user will end up losing their account. I think that's the official report that should have occurred, but that's not what happened. It seems like the solution that Horizon World was offering was something like, this is perfect, let's just put all the women who are sexually assaulted who don't like it into their own special little bubble, and that way they won't be assaulted in their special little bubble. Now, just imagine if we did that in real life. What would that look like? Would there be outrage? I 100% guarantee there would be a lot of outrage anytime you treat members of different sexes differently based on nothing other than their gender. And this only increases the intensity of what we're doing. Why is there a separate world? Why is there a separate bubble? Why is there a separate safety feature for someone who does not want to be sexually assaulted? Instead of focusing on the victim of this sexual assault or the survivor of this sexual assault, they should be focusing on the perpetrators. How do we get the perpetrators to stop? Because if we keep on warning the victims how they could have done better, what they could have done in that situation that could have prevented this, well, we're losing focus on the root problem, which is not the woman who's standing there trying to explore the Horizon World as a beta tester, but it's the individual who think it's okay to come in this beta world and bring those actions into the metaverse. That's what we should be focusing on. So Vivek Sharma, the vice president of Horizon World, called the groping incident absolutely unfortunate and are focusing on improving the UI so that the feature of Safe Zone is more easily findable. I think this statement is just showing a little bit more about they're focusing on how to help the people who are being sexually assaulted and sexually harassed more than trying to stop the sexual assaulters and sexual harassers. Now, they're going to try to make that Safe Zone feature more findable, when I believe they should be working instead on a moderating system where individuals can report sexual assault occurring in the metaverse. So I actually floated this situation of whether women would prefer that their Safe Zone button be more easily findable, or would they prefer that the owners of Horizon World focus on moderating the actions of men. Now, I received one comment back from a 21-year-old college student. And she says, "Newsflash, Sharma, the problem isn't if the bubble button is accessible, it's that all men are trash." I'll take that. In all seriousness, what are the responsibilities of these businesses once this virtual reality, once the metaverse turns into places of work? And that's what we're going to discuss next. In the state of California, you have the right to a safe workplace. And this includes being free from an environment that is sexually harassing. Now, let's just remember, sexual harassment is not only a physical thing. It can include comments and actions as well. It can include comments about your appearance. It could include comments or sexist jokes about gender norms. It could include certain sexualized comments that are occurring all the time. And it can include any time that you are treated differently on the basis of your gender or sex. And when an employer allows a sexually harassing work environment, or they allow sexual harassment to occur in the workplace, then that employer is also availing themselves to liability. They could be on the hook in a lawsuit. Now, when we're looking at the definition of sexual harassment, what defines sexual harassment, what it really looks like in the eyes of the law. Sexual harassment occurs when the conduct is so severe or pervasive that it materially affects or impacts an employee's ability to complete their bona fide duties at work. And it is so harassing that it affects the employment conditions and the employment contract of that employee's work. So what does all that legalese mean? Well, that legalese means if you're being harassed on the basis of your sex or your gender, and you're being harassed so much that it's changing the conditions of your employment to where you're actually having to be in a severe or pervasive harassing environment all the time. Anytime someone touches you, one of your 3 personal and private areas if you're a woman, and one of your 2 personal and private areas if you're a man, I believe that's automatically severe. That is enough. If someone's inappropriately touching you, one of your private areas, that is illegal discrimination and harassment. Now, when we look at pervasive, that means you don't have one big act. You have a whole bunch of little small acts. And if you maybe connect 5, 10, 15, 20 together, you'll see that all of those little acts start piggybacking each other and start snowballing together to where all of a sudden it wasn't after the 5th act, it wasn't after the 10th inappropriate joke, but after the 15th time that you had inappropriate words said to you that was sexually harassing, that could be enough to be a harassing environment. Now, one question we have to think about is, what does Meta know about this groping incident? What does Meta know about the harassment that's occurring on its platform? Because if Metaverse opens itself as a place of public accommodation for businesses to move their workplaces into the Metaverse, and they know that this is occurring, they know sexual assault is occurring, then they could also avail themselves the liability, being that they're essentially creating an environment that could be harassing to women. And if that's the case, then they need to stop it. They need to figure out ways to moderate that, which isn't making women go into their separate room, because I feel that that's a separate form of discrimination right there. Now, before everyone starts going off and suing Meta every time they get sexually harassed on the internet, you have to know that an affirmative defense that an employer or a business can bring, or in this case Meta or any employer that's allowing people to go into the metaverse and potentially get sexually harassed, is the employer has an affirmative defense to show that they mitigated any damages or that they helped prevent any sexual harassing events from occurring. Because if they have moderation policies, if they have certain ways where individuals can report sexually harassing and sexually assaulting events, then that employer is actually doing their due diligence and trying to create a safe environment for the users of that platform. But that's something that we have to decide at a later date. We don't have enough information about that yet, because right now we know that Meta has officially received one complaint about a sexually assaulting incident that occurred on its platform. Now, we have to see what they do from today to 6 months from now, because if they don't add any new moderation policies, if they don't add any new terms and conditions for users, then someone could argue that they did not do enough to protect other users from the same type of sexually assaulting and sexually harassing behavior, which means if they knew about a problem, they didn't fix the problem, and the problem happened again, they could be on the hook. They could be liable for that. So the question is, and this is the question for all the people in this audience, is do you think Meta acted reasonably? That's the first question. The second question is, what would you have done if you're Meta right now and you received this complaint of harassment? What would you do? How would you change the metaverse? What types of policies would you put in place? That's something that all the people in this world right now are talking about, especially because we're in a new world right now where more and more people are uploading their devices, products, businesses, and platforms into the metaverse. So along with this new adoption, there are going to be a lot of new problems. And with these new problems, we need people working together to develop solutions. So what do you think one of the solutions can be? Now, to spin all of this up, we're entering into a new age of virtual reality. And in this age of virtual reality, we're uploading more businesses, jobs, and other things into the metaverse. Now, this isn't Call of Duty and this isn't Sims. We're not playing make-believe characters and going on missions to complete a game. We're uploading different parts of ourselves. We're uploading different characteristics in our personality up into the metaverse where we are going to go, work, play, and have fun and make friends. Now, even in the metaverse, we are still able to be free of a sexually harassing or discriminatory work environment. We should still feel safe while walking in the streets of the virtual metaverse. And right now, we need to know that this behavior is occurring at the onset of this platform, meaning that we need to have more people speaking up and talking about shutting down this type of behavior right now before it can grow, before it can get bigger and more problematic, and as more users go onto the metaverse and develop certain opinions on what is allowable and what is not allowable within the platform. Unfortunately, this is not the first time someone's been sexually harassed in virtual reality. And unfortunately, this will probably not be the last time. But right now, this is giving us a really good opportunity to start bringing this discussion forward, to bring this information forward, this complaint of sexual assault in the metaverse, and start talking about it. Because if we don't start talking about it now, then we're going to allow this behavior to continue and grow. So here's a question. Would y'all go into the metaverse right now? If you go into the metaverse, what are you expecting? What type of environment are you expecting to see when you start walking around? Are you expecting to see an environment that's happy-go-lucky? Are you expecting to have your armor on because you're not sure what to expect once you get in there? So if you like this type of content, please feel free to like, comment, and share the video. I'm really going to try to develop more pieces of content like this that are explaining articles and news stories that not very many people are talking about, probably because it doesn't get that many clicks. But at the same time, I do feel like talking about these issues are going to be beneficial for society and beneficial for the people who do spend a lot of time on the internet, because right now we're seeing issues starting to bubble. And with that being said, in 5 years from now, those little bubbling issues will be much bigger. So if you're interested in this type of content, stay tuned, and I promise I'll keep delivering. All right, thank you.